Welcome back, everyone. Another week, another episode. And this one is going to be over the top because I am here with the guy, Mr. 10X himself, Grant Cardone. Hey, Grant.
Hey, so good to be with you. I've been wanting to do this with you for so long, so I'm so excited.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Tell everybody where you are right now, because just before we were like finagling with lights and figuring things out. Where are you?
So I'm in my new home in Golden Beach. It's about a mile from where we have lived for the last 8 years. We moved from Los Angeles to Miami about 8 or 9 years ago. Bought a condo in Sunny Isles. And then at the end of Sunny Isles, another community starts called Golden Beach. Golden Beach is a very exclusive. Carlos Slim lives down the street. Hedge fund billionaire lives 4 houses down. This whole neighborhood's just going wacko crazy. So all the New York's coming out here. Yeah.
Before we get into the content, like what's LA like West Coast to East Coast? Do you miss it? Terrace, can we turn it up a bit? I can't hear him.
Yeah, I live, are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, so I lived in Los Angeles. I lived in California for 25 years. I met Elena in California, and we absolutely loved California. I lived in San Diego for 12 or 13 of those years, and then the last 12 years in Los Angeles, up in West Hollywood, up in the hills, surrounded by superstar. I mean, all kind of crazy, great people. It was phenomenal life. But we gave that up, which is one of the themes of my life, is what I'm willing to give up to have the things I want. And we gave that up when they started changing many of their policies in California about 9-10 years ago. Before it was popular to leave California, we left. We had never been to Miami. Elena had never been here. I sold my home first and had no clue where Elena, myself, and a newborn was going. So we actually had 2 kids. We had 2 kids at the time, a newborn and a 2-year-old. And we literally sold the house there. And that house was a stable part of our life. Like it's a really important thing for people to know. Like, we gave up one of the most important things to us when the surroundings around us no longer were consistent with many of our beliefs. They were taxing.
I love that.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you something. It was hard. It was hard to leave my friends. Every weekend we had parties at the house, barbecues. I mean, my place was the place where everybody came to. And that's cool. It gives you comfort and consistency, and it gives you a lot of security, right? When you have something stable like that, to give that up and not know where you're going to go and restart, not just your life, but your business, it can be terrifying, but it can also be extremely, this is the upside of it. It can be very liberating. And in our case, it was one of the things that led to a massive expansion in my life. Nobody knew me really. Nobody really knew me. 9 or 10
you mean
years
10 years ago? 10 years ago, nobody really knew you. I'm gonna pause right there, because this is really talking about billionaire love, and we might as well be talking about billionaire business, because it's a partnership. And you said so many things in that early part. There's a phrase that I often quote, because as you know, I'm a matchmaker. I work in the love space, been doing it for 30 years myself. Sheryl Sandberg was quoted, "The most important career choice you'll make is the person you marry." Chime in on that. What do you think about that?
I kind of don't like labeling something as the most important thing. Then people suddenly rush to that thing. Like, I got to fix that thing. If I was 25 years old, the last thing I would be worried about is love. So,
Yeah.
I didn't get married till I was 45 years old. I didn't have kids till I was 51.
Wow, you look amazing. So you got married. So you're I wouldn't say a late bloomer. That's what I wanted to ask you, Grant. Who was the single Grant?
I just want to back up something on Sheryl, because Sheryl works for one of the wealthiest companies in the world. Like one of the richest countries that has ever, companies that has ever existed, with endless amounts of money, right? So there's some things that Sheryl, and this is also true for your audience with me. You need to take into context where that person is giving you their advice from where they're at in their own cycle, and also where they're coming from. Like when you work for Facebook and you have, you know, she's being paid not millions, but tens of millions of dollars, probably hundreds of millions of dollars in options alone. It's a different game than if you're starting your own business from scratch, you're bootstrapping it, and you're paying Facebook. Facebook isn't paying you. I pay Facebook, right? Yeah. So all I would tell you is like, yeah, look, picking the partner, I would agree with Cheryl that picking the partner is really, really, really super important. One of those top 5 or 6 things. But if I'm 25, 19, the last thing I'm doing is the guy's looking for the honey patch, and I'm digging for gold though. I'm digging for gold. Somebody called my wife a gold digger. I said, I hope she is. And they're like, what? When I got together with Elena, somebody in LA said, your wife's just with you. She's a gold digger. I said, I hope she's a gold digger. Who's going to dig for property?
Right. And you've shared.
If I was a woman, I would want to know what your potential is to pay your bills. If I was a man, right, I'd want to know that the woman pays her bills. You know, that they have ethics, they're credible, they do what they say they're going to do, that they don't spend more than they make. All that's going to end up, you got to sleep with that. You can't get away from that. If you get away from it, it's going to cost you a big chunk.
Yeah, I mean, Grant, I'm speaking to you from the context that you are self-made, that you are currently an actual billionaire. So I'm not speaking to you because I want to know I do want to know the difference between the decision-making you made with $0, but you always had a billionaire mindset. You don't get to where you are thinking like a chump, having, John Lee on Clubhouse always talks about rich mindset, broke mindset, right? So talk to me about the choices you made in partners when you were the 20s, 30s, 40s, and how you evolved to finally choosing your now wife, who clearly, from our viewpoint, seems like not only a great business choice, but really a great life choice for you. And I'm not saying your marriage doesn't have its ups and downs. I'd love to talk about whatever you feel comfortable with, but let's go down that path.
Yeah. So number one, let me just clear up a couple of things because I try to be as honest as possible. I am not currently today, don't have a net worth of $1 billion. So we have $2.5 billion worth of assets that'll probably hit $3 billion this year. I don't personally have $1 billion worth of free without debt assets. Sure. Anyway, I just want to clear that up for everybody because I do value being honest and think it's really important that I don't lead people down some place. That being said, I could never spend the money that I have. It's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. It's way more than what the Google says my net worth is, by the way. But okay. which is all bullshit anyway. I mean, net worth means nothing. Your net worth means nothing. It's what are you doing every day to contribute, to give back? Are you happy? Are you healthy? Like it's all that stuff, but money does matter. Now, also the other thing is I did not always have a billionaire mindset. Really, okay. Elena's the one with the billionaire mindset. She thinks like I can do anything. I'm not the one that thinks that. We both grew up in very, very humble beginnings, but she's an actress. Okay. And an actress is given a script and you can be anybody in that script. I'm not saying anything demeaning to an actress right now. Everybody understand what I'm saying here.
Are you speaking literal? Are you literal? Like, was Elena actually an actress? Because I'm taking you for your literal context. Okay.
No, Elena had a show called USA High when she was 19 years old. That I think it had 300 episodes. She still gets checks today. She still gets checks today from Charlie, from 2.5 Men and CSA, I don't know, whatever, right? But the point is, she was training to be an actress. She was a paid actress. She was a working, successful actress. And when you're an actress, this goes again back to what I was saying about where is somebody, like what's forming their ideas, right? You're given a script and you could be anything. Yep. You could be a prostitute or you could be a billionaire. or the billionaire's wife or the billionaire's mistress or whatever, right?
Whatever.
The maid. See, in my world, my world's not an acting world. Okay. I'm the writer, the director, the producer. I got to get the money for it. Like everything is work and effort for me. So I did not have the billionaire mindset for one reason. Well, two reasons probably. I wasn't around it, but she wasn't either. Neither one of us were around it, but I wasn't around it and she had it. Okay, because she lives in fantasy, right? She lives in a fantasy that can actually become a reality. I lived in a fantasy too. And my fantasy was, dude, that's impossible. And that I'm having a hammer. I couldn't, the gorilla that's hanging up behind me, I don't know how to put that on the wall. To me, that would be a lot of work.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
It's easier for me just to pay somebody. You understand what I'm saying? Like it would be a level, it would take me hours because it's effort and it's hard. So I did not come up, I was not raised with a billionaire mindset, nor did I couldn't think about how it would be to have that. Now I did have the mindset that has driven me is I am going to produce more money than I have to worry about. I'm going to worry about the money because I want to do good things where it's going rather than not having it. I just wanted to flip the switch on the worry button.
So, but it sounds as if, okay, you both come from humble beginnings. You give a lot of credit to your wife. And I just saw her recent birthday party. I saw the video. I saw the words that they were describing, exactly what you're saying, you know, powerhouse, badass, like visionary, magic. Like I watched that, right? And I know you got her incredible gifts. So Grant, like to that point about relationships, was it the combination, like the two of you putting two minds together that had you get to where you are? How did that come into play?
Yeah. So 1000%. I was a playboy. I was a promiscuous, naughty boy that could not be really in a relationship for any period of time because, you know, I wanted the sensation. I wanted the feeling and the high and the intoxication of a new love relationship. I wanted to explore newness every day. And I was in a position to do that. So
then how do you meet this woman that might kind of like changes your path?
Well, I didn't meet her while I was doing that. I don't think anybody will meet that when you're doing that. I had to give up, just like I had to give up LA to come here and become who I am today. I had to give up Playboy to become somebody that could be dependent upon. Somebody could be in a relationship. Somebody could be a husband. Somebody could be a father. I knew I couldn't be it. So I put all that off until I was 45 years old. At 45, I was sick of being a playboy. I hated it.
So it was a conscious decision for you. Like you consciously decided, I'm done with Playboy life.
Yeah, and it wasn't just an idea because I believe that all commitments require time and money to be extended to the commitment. So I lived in a house in La Jolla, California on the ocean. It was a little love station. And it was a fantastic, magical house for a single guy that's what he wanted to do. And again, I'm not proud of that. Like, I know that can sound sexy and everything. It's a miserable life. It's a terribly miserable life. I mean, relationships are difficult. Having a different one every day is even worse because it's empty.
Grant,
and it's lonely.
Pause there for a moment. When I'm sure in your Playboy days, did you not meet keepers or wife material or women that wanted to be with you? You didn't see that at all?
Well, I couldn't have kept it anyway because I wasn't a keeper.
Okay.
So you can't meet a keeper if you're not a keeper because all you got is half a keeper. Because look, I remember somebody said, hey man, it's got to be a 50-50 thing. I'm like 50. I don't want 50-50 from anybody. I want everything from people. I want to give everything. 50-50 just gives you two broken people. You need two people to come together that are 100. So I sold my house. I made a decision to give it up. The same day, I listed my house for sale in La Jolla. sold the house, moved to Los Angeles. I knew no one. I went to Los Angeles believing I would meet my wife, but I also went there because my church was there and I wanted to go work on myself to figure out why I kept sabotaging the potential and possibilities of my life, part of which was my inability to be in a relationship. And so
Did
I
you
literally
have commitment issues? Like, did you go to therapy? Like, you're a professional. So when you say you put time and energy and investment, how did you work on self to get to the point where you could now be a devoted father and a husband?
Yeah, I went to my church and I enrolled in courses on relationships, marriage, communication, not stuff that was wrong with me. I wanted to get. I didn't need anybody exploring my mama issues. I'd done that. I tried that. It didn't make anything any better. What I needed skills. I needed skills. You got to have. I didn't even know what a relationship was. I never even looked up the word.
Wow.
What is a
Yeah,
marriage?
you had many business relationships. Like, do you think that your self-improvement on the romantic side helped your professional relationships too?
Well, what I think is that I quit spending time and energy on the rabbit hole, the punani hole. Can I say that here?
Yeah, you can say that here.
Yeah, the rabbit hole, man. The rabbit hole, you spend a tremendous amount of preparation, hunting, disappointment, discouragement. Everybody's disappointed. People have expectations. Like it's hard to please everybody and then stay pleased. And like all that time and energy I was spending on, doing that when I could have been spending on my business. That's why if I was 25 years old today, I would not be hunting the honey patch. I would be hunting the business patch because the rules are clear. You see, everything's measurable. Like in my relationships and partnerships in business, dude, everybody knows what they're supposed to do. Your job, my job. This is how we measure it. This is how we get it. It's a lot different game in relationships.
So when you finally did the work, you moved to California, you went to your church, you gave up the Playboy life, you literally took action to do that. What were you looking for? I'm a matchmaker, as you know. When we work with someone, we set clear goals, we define who they are, what they're looking for. What did you need? What did you do to establish that? And did you know very clearly who you wanted? Can you share three things that were really important to you?
So yeah, look, of course I wanted somebody hot. I wanted somebody fun. I told Elena, I said, she's like, what do you want in a girl? I said, I want somebody that's so hot that all my buddies want to be with her, but they know they can't be because she's got integrity. So I didn't, but look, I always knew what I wanted. The problem wasn't her or what I wanted. The problem was me. So like you can make every list you want until you fix, I believe this, until Grant fixed Grant's relationship issues, Grant's destructive behavior, Grant's like, these were not, I was conscious of them and could not control them. So these were out of like literally reactive, sabotaging, below my consciousness, blind spots that sabotage my ability to be a father, to be a husband, to have relationships. And it wasn't even my choice. So I had to explore that before I could actually hook up with the right one. And she had to do the same thing. So I was interested in somebody who was spiritual. A lot of people don't see me as a spiritual person. I don't talk about it a lot, but it is.
Do you share that faith together, Grant? Are you sharing the spirituality as a partnership?
Yeah, we do. It's not a faith so much as it is a commonality of what we think, who we are as individuals and our purposes to make things better.
Got it.
And around us and be examples and to expand. And expansion is a really important thing to us spiritually, both spiritually, like the big thing. So I also wanted somebody that's big like that because look, I was in love with this girl in a city. I was just fascinated with this person, but I could not be with her because she didn't have those interests. So I wanted to expand and she wanted to contract. I wanted,
Yeah,
I wanted something fun, and it doesn't mean she's wrong,
sure.
you know, it meant we were wrong
But
for.
you're not with her, and you're with somebody who shares that value. And so when you met Elena, did you have to pursue her? Was it
Yeah.
a cat and mouse game? Tell everybody about that.
So I, you know, Elena had no interest in me. I was not her type. She had a different mock-up in her head than me. She wanted a rock star, Hollywood director, writer, somebody maybe in a band. So she liked,
Really? Okay.
oh yeah, she liked the bad boys, and she's very much of a tomboy. And she saw me as a kind of a boring businessman. And
Wow.
she pegged me as a boring businessman. And then her friend said, "Oh, he's a shark. Leave him alone." She was seeing this chiropractor, Neil, which I still resent Neil for telling her this, but he said, Neil didn't know anything about me, by the way. Neil said he's a shark. She told another friend of hers I was a shark. So she thought I was just a shark. And the reality is, previous to this, I was. Now I was no longer a shark. Now I was a whale. I wanted to become a whale.
Yeah.
And I wanted to become a dependable humpback whale that could take care of
Love it.
take care of the family, right? I mean, that was my whole deal. And let me just say this as well, because the girl that I was fascinated with and couldn't be with, those relationships were back to back. So
Okay.
I was getting ready, because I was getting myself ready. The girl that I was actually fascinated with, she did not want to get ready. When I met Elena, Elena was getting ready, but it would take a year, a little over a year, 26 phone calls, and the right kind of
Not that you're
bumping.
counting.
No, I
26
was
phone
counting.
calls.
Yeah, I counted 26 unreturned phone calls.
Wow, my God. Okay, so what did that do to your ego at the time? And did you have her on your, did you know you were going to marry this woman? Or did you just know that you wanted to be with this woman, Elena?
Well, yeah, I didn't know I wanted to be with her badly. I did not know that I'd marry her, but I did know, okay, she's checking a bunch of boxes here. And I was looking.
Yeah.
You know, when you're looking to buy a car, you start looking for reasons to buy one. And so I was looking for reasons. I thought she was. I called my mom. I said, "I think I met my wife today." But she wanted nothing.
Now,
this
is, and then 26 phone calls. This is what year, Grant? Because were people texting then? Did we have smartphones?
No, we were,
okay.
We still had the machines, the answer machines. I remember that because that's where the message.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So what pivoted? How did she agree to go out with you?
26 phone calls. I don't think it was one thing. I think it was how I handled the 26 phone calls. I never made her wrong. See, a lot of guys do this. Man, you didn't call me back. God damn, you could at least call me back. Who you think you are? Never did that. I knew why she wasn't calling me back. I dated her friend. It's an old Italian ploy. Her friend gave me intel.
Wait, you did that on purpose to get her attention? To
No, kinda? I just there is an old, you know, when you go to Italy as a single man, you don't, if you see Carmelia and she's the one you want, don't pay her all the attention. Like, go to the friend.
Yeah, okay, got it.
You know, don't put
you
too much.
You still had a little bit of game in you. That was a tiny bit of shark in you.
Well, 100%. I mean, look, you know, a leopard can't change his spots, right? So
yeah.
But you know, it doesn't mean I'm promiscuous. Promiscuous. Yes. It doesn't mean I can't practice but it doesn't mean I'm not going to use strategy. And even me being lighthearted with her, you know, it just easy. Me running into places where I knew she was, me going into a room with other people she thought might be cool. All those are strategies. They're definitely, some people might think it's manipulation, but you need some strategy. Now, to not have strategy means you're going to manipulate yourself.
Where was your first date, Grant? And by the way, knowing she was the object of your, desire for romance. Did you table dating, or you just dated for fun and while you knew you kind of wanted Elena?
The first time I literally kind of started withdrawing a bit, you know, and I would just run into her. And I just finished a course at my church. She was going into the church, and we ran across one another. I'm like, hey, I just finished a course. I just completed this course, and I'm going to go shooting Saturday. I heard that she liked to shoot guns. Yes. And I said, I reserved the shooting range Saturday. Call me, let me know if you want to go. I don't have anybody to go with. Well, that got her. Like, that was like, if I'd have done that first call, I think I'd have got her. And so that Saturday, that was on a Thursday. Friday night, I had a date, not with her, but somebody else. As soon as she said yes to me, I called the date and said, we're not going out tomorrow night. I'm done. And I said, I met my wife. And she's like, when are you going out with her? For tomorrow night, Friday night, the night I had a date with her? I said, no, I'm going out with her Saturday, but I'm done. I'm just wasting your time now. And so I ended.
That's integrous. That is very integrous, Grant.
Yeah, thank you. Integrous.
I like that word. Yeah, it was integrous. So you went out with Elena on that Saturday, but you said that was phone call one. This is after 26 attempts, or that one time?
No, this was the one time we actually, she completed the you know, she's like, she is now reciprocating to a yes now.
So you had made a lot of effort for her to reciprocate that yes, the strategy, okay.
So she finally crossed over, right? So, you know, in my world,
I saw her. She's a pretty sharp shooter. She looks like a badass with those guns.
Oh, she is. She's a 3-gun shooter. She was top 10 in California for shotguns, which is what we went and shot that day.
Was that the beginning of your romance, or did you have to chase a little bit more?
No, she didn't. We didn't have sex on the way home, if you're asking me that. We just bang.
I'm not asking that.
But then we went to dinner. I think the following Wednesday, we went to dinner at Kiatsu or some sushi restaurant in LA on West Hollywood and on Sunset Strip. And she had an ankle that was hurt, and we parked across the street on Sunset Boulevard. It's very busy. And I picked her up. She's a couple inches taller than me, maybe 2 inches taller than me, maybe an inch. I don't know. I'm short. She's tall, and I picked her up. There you go,
short guys. You got hope. Look, Grant's shorter than his current wife. Come on now.
Well, that was one of her complaints, by the way. She wanted a man. She wanted I think she wanted blue eyes, 6'2", and I'm 5'8". And
you're 5'8"?
Yeah. And
you like stand like you're 7 foot. Like, that's crazy. Anyway.
Yeah. So you know, I always chuckled about me being 5'8", because I asked her when we took delivery of my first plane, we were at 51,000 feet. And I said, how short am I now? So anyway, I picked her up and I carried her across the street, and she was shocked that I could pick her weight up. And that was the first contact. I breached something with her. And so that night, walking away from the restaurant, I think it was that night, she said, hey, you're trying to make me fall in love with you, aren't you?
Wow.
And that was the first kiss.
Oh, that's so amazing. I love that you can recount that. Was that the first time, Grant, that you had felt these like romantic feelings? You said you never knew what a relationship was like. So, and by the way, was that scary to you? Yeah, how did you control old Grant, like fucking that up? Pardon my F's, because
no, look, this was not the first time I felt the love.
Okay.
This was the first time I was capable of being in a relationship. So this was not the first time I felt love, infatuation, the heat of the moment. Oh my God, I got to have this. It's compulsive. I got to be with you. Oh my God, I don't need to eat or sleep or, I can live on you. I can consume you, your life itself. This was definitely not the first time I felt that, but this was the first time I was ready to commit to that and grow that. You know,
in terms of wealth, in terms of wealth, where you were at the point where you were at in your relationship, a lot of people talk about having prenups and things of that nature. And you can talk about it or not talk about it, because I know Elena is a big part of your business. When you did get together or before, did you see her as someone that was going to run your company? And that takes an incredible amount of trust. So what do you think about that? What advice could you give to couples who are thinking about working together?
Number one, the first part of that, no, I didn't see her as somebody that was going to run my company. She doesn't run the company now, by the way. So
okay, she's a part of. Does she have her own business, or she's involved in any part of your business?
She like me, work for the business.
Okay, got it.
I work for the business. She works for the business.
Got it.
We support the business. It's not like, and this is really, really important for people to know. Like, it's not her deal or my deal. It's we're taking care of this entity. This is an entity. This is 189 employees, another 350 in the real estate. Like, we serve the community.
Got it.
So
she does play a role. So I'll take that back a bit. She played a role in your company, right? And not a lot of men or women feel comfortable with their partners taking any roles in their business. Yeah. That's a bit of a risk. So talk to me about that.
Well, what happened was, there's a backstory here. So going into this, she was going to continue to be an actress. Elena was not working in the business. She was not she was supporting me, but not really supporting the business. She didn't know about it. She was going on auditions. The first 4 years we were married, we were just kind of in bliss.
Okay.
And then 2008 happened. We'll be married 17 years this weekend. And so when 2008 happened, boom, that ripped the honeymoon. The honeymoon was over. Because now we were at risk. I was at risk. She was at risk. The business was at risk. I was under a $60 million lawsuit. The world was coming to an end. I had 2 companies failing and a bank calling $52 million worth of loans. All this was happening at the same time, and we had our first baby on the way. And when I'm going through this, all of a sudden the stress hit me, and now it's going to hit her, and she's pregnant. And so she's like, "What's going on right now?" I said, "The whole world's about to change. Stop all purchases of everything. Everything. You cannot buy flowers for the house. You cannot approve any bill for anything under any conditions. We have to suffer through this to get through this, if we even make it through this." And that was really the start of our relationship. Our wedding day was not the start. This was the real start of me and Elena.
Wow.
So that was like, she quit her job as an actress. We had to sit down and just said, "Hey, something's got to give here. We got to pull together, get on the same page, and decide what we're going to do here. Because this is no longer for kids. This is a real deal. I don't want to live on the streets. You don't want to live on the streets. I don't want to be broke."
So you had a real conversation about living on the streets.
I said, "Hey,
with your wife,
what's about to happen here?" Because she's not the business person, right? I said,
"Right.
We're about to die." I said, "There's a real good chance we die. You know, you're in a plane and it's crashing. You're going to have the conversation before you crash. You're like, what's going to happen? We're going to die." You know, and I truly thought there was probably a 80% chance that we were going to crash and burn.
Wow.
And so she's like, "What do we got to do?" I said, "Well, it's not really what you got to do. It's what I got to do. I'm the only one that can pull us out. Acting cannot pull us out of this shit."
Right. Okay.
And she's like, "If acting can't pull us out, then I'm going to quit acting and I'm going to pull for you." I mean, this happened in a longer conversation than this, but she did. She quit her job. And again, this goes back to when our lives change. Our lives change when we give something up, not when we add something. Your life, your relationship will change when someone surrenders something. What are you willing to give up?
What's the biggest sacrifice you've made in that context where you said growth happens when you give something up? I'm sure there have been many times in your life where you've given things up. One of the things you said was the beautiful home you had. That
Yeah.
sounds like around the same time the crash happened. What else have you had to give up?
I mean, so many things. Control. Some idea that things have to be done this way, not that way.
Yes, yes, because you are, how do you feel about alpha? One of my questions to you was, do you identify with your alpha, she's alpha? How do two very strong personalities live together and partner together? What's your secret?
Well, my secret is to be right more than you're wrong. If you're just right all the time, people will be like, okay, let him do it. He knows. No, it won't be an alpha. Be right. Don't be alpha. Be right. You don't have to be, you don't have to have be the gorilla with the cigar in his mouth. Be right. Be right more often than you're wrong. So with Elena, like even when I'm in the shit house, the dog house with Elena, I just say, hey, what's my score?
You have a scoring system?
Give me a score right now, babe. Give me a score. Like, what am I? Okay. I mean, on a bad day, what am I? I'm still going to get I'm probably going to breach a 90. There's just so many levels I deliver on that, yeah, okay, I'm a dumbass on this. I didn't say this right. I didn't do that right. But like she constantly is on me about my driving. 17 years I've never driving. Yeah, driving.
Yeah. That's a big one for a lot of couples. I have to say, I've been through a lot of heated car rides because the testosterone is leading the driving seat, and it drives me crazy, right? But how do you resolve that?
Whatever. But I've never scratched a car. So I'm like,
do you drive differently with the kids in it, though? Do you drive differently with the kids in it? No. Let's talk about parenting. You became, parents. Did you have a discussion about how you were going to raise the kids, what you wanted to do with them? Or was it like, let's figure this shit out together?
No, not really. I mean, yeah, we did parenting courses. We did courses on how to raise kids. If you've seen our kids, like of everything I've done in my career, the speaking gigs, the 34,000 person sold out audiences.
They're phenomenal.
Undercover Billionaire TV show where I, did the $5 million in 90 days. The books I've written, there's nothing. My marriage, there's nothing I'm more proud of than how we've raised those kids. And I'll tell you, like me and Elena are on the same page on it. 99% of the time we're on the same page. We're not perfect, but again, my church has really helped us understand how to treat a kid. And me being raised as a kid was very difficult for me. I was very I was angry as a kid because nobody treated me like I knew anything. And I don't think that that's true about kids. I think kids know a lot of stuff. So we've really treated our kids like kids, but we confirm and affirm and acknowledge them as intelligent beings that are just small bodies. And our kids are phenomenal. I mean, I got two kids that are like, they're when you meet them, you're impressed with them.
Oh, I mean, I often visit the Sunday rooms that they do on Clubhouse, these guys, right? Like, and my daughter's here in the background, she's 4. I think they're phenomenal. So in terms of conflict, are there rules to engagement with how you guys communicate when you are like, what gets you in the doghouse? How do you resolve conflict? You've done a lot of courses. So is it, you give each other space, you communicate it out loud, you meet once a week? Like, I'd love to hear a little bit more about things that when they really bother you. That's my first question. And secondly, because Undercover Billionaire took so much of your time and required you to not be with your girls and family, and now you're taking sort of an acting role. I mean, you're a reality star. Is that something you, tell me about that, because I know that was so difficult for you as well.
Yeah, so that show was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I cannot talk about it without it literally I feel it every time.
Yeah.
And it's on Discovery Plus. You can watch all 13 episodes there, and you're gonna see this was not an acting role. This really happened. It was extremely difficult. COVID happened in the middle of it. And what I did not understand, I mean, I met a part of me I did not know existed. When I took this on, and I did this to prove to people and myself that you don't need money and you don't need to be a celebrity or have a name to build a business. And I did that for others that I didn't know, but I also did it for myself because I really wanted to validate that myself and have it documented with cameras as I did this thing. I didn't know COVID was going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
You know, so if you'd have told me, hey, Grant, you're going to build $1 million business in 90 days while 40 million people get left out of work and you got to go to Pueblo, Colorado and do it, I'd be like, come on, man, shit. Ain't nobody can do that. I hit 5.5 million. And everybody.
How much did you, what did you hit?
5.5.
5.5.
Yeah.
You know what? Is that a 10x? You 10x. Oh, you multiplied that $100. They gave him and you didn't even spend your $100.
And a $1.7 million real estate deal. So that's 7.2. And I lost 2 deals that they don't show you on Discovery. We're going to put all this together and show it to people in a different format.
Yeah.
And lost 2 other deals because I was discovered. And I couldn't use a deal that I was discovered on. Anyway, back to being away from the kids. Look, when I took this thing on and said I was going to do it, I had no clue that everything else in my life would become like, this became the only thing. I wouldn't let them help me. I wouldn't let the crew, the production crew or Discovery fake anything or facade anything or make it easier for me. I'm like, no, guys, they'd call me up. Hey, we got a meeting for you. I'm like, you're not supposed to be arranging my meetings.
Right.
Okay. The American public's not going to have somebody Discovery set up a meeting for them. Dude, let's do this right. And he's like, well, you know, we want to make a TV show. Fuck you and your TV show. I want to do this right. I'll make a TV show. This shit's going to be fucking awesome, dude. So when I got into that mindset, man, and then I found out I couldn't bring my kids out because the goal was to bring my wife and kids into the show. And what happened was, one, I couldn't bring them where I was because I didn't have a place to live. For the first 10 days, I didn't have a house. I had no food, no water, and no shelter. So
you negotiated the RV though, I think, right? Like,
yeah, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
can't put 2 kids and a wife in a 100 square foot RV. And I have no food. I have no food budget. You cannot feed 4 people on $100. And
right.
Dude, I started getting consumed by what happens to probably 10 or 15% of the American population every single day. And this thing became more important to me than just a show. And it was just like crushing me every day. And I couldn't be with my kids. So, and my kids like I try not to go.
And you weren't allowed to talk to them either, right, Grant?
No,
I could
talk to them, but that's not the
right.
same thing. And I thought I was going to bring them out. It was my idea with Discovery that I was going to bring my kids out. Then even when I figured out how to get them in a situation where I could bring them out, the problem is if I brought them out, we'd be discovered. Because I had to shave my head and wear a mask not to be discovered. If I'd have brought the wife and kids out, there's no way. I can't shave everybody's head. So, you know, we would look like the Hare Krishnas going through Pueblo. And they
must have been so proud of you. Must have been difficult for your whole family.
Dude, it was terrible. It was terrible. Like it was terrible. And it was hard on our relationship, by the way. I don't know that we've recovered from it. And
wow.
Yeah, it was hard. It was very hard. It was very hard. It's hard, you know, they say that time makes the heart. What is the old saying?
Time makes the heart grow fonder, doesn't it?
Yeah, but you know, it also you start operating on your own. And she's operating on her own. And you start becoming self-sufficient. And you know, being self-sufficient is cool, but not when you get back together. You can't just be like, you know, I'm in hunger mode every day. Like I got to take care of myself. It was a very difficult thing. And then the show stopped because of COVID, because they didn't want to shoot it during COVID, which I vehemently opposed with Discovery.
Right.
I'm like, guys, America does not get to decide not to take care of their family during COVID.
Right.
but they didn't want to take the liability risk, which I thought was chicken shit. But they're a big studio. They're worried about getting sued. I'm like, no, we need to shoot this during COVID and show people it's still possible.
Right.
So that we did a 3 months I'm off, and then I got to go back and start it again. And so,
you must have been dreading that trip back, because you're thinking, fuck, I could have been done with this, right?
the trip back was worse than the first trip, because now you know you're going to get punched in the face.
Oh my God.
The first time you get punched in the face, you know, you're surprised by it. The second time you're like, oh, I know what this is going to feel like, and it's going to hurt.
Oh my God. Okay, so tell me, lastly, I had a couple more questions that I want to ask you. In terms of like your circle now, who do you surround yourself with? Who do you look for mentorship, both in your professional life and also in your marriage life, right? Because how do you keep the sparks going between you and your wife when you know, a lot of people see the glamorous side, but as you said, this decision to do Undercover Billionaire had impact. There are still things in your marriage that, you know, you're working through. It's not all perfect. So who do you go to now as a resource, and how do you keep that spark alive between you and your wife?
Yeah. Look, I always go back to what worked for me. You know, every time I'm having any kind of problems with communication, understanding her view, consumed by my own problems of life overwhelming me, the critics out there that want to create doubt in you. You know, like there's a lot going on in my life every day. Challenges.
Yeah.
It's not easy, man. The disappointments are bigger today than they were 20 years ago. It's not like my life. Being without stuff is hard. Being with stuff is hard. I'm going to take the second hard. So I go back to my church, man, and I feel, you know, my church really helps me. I've been practicing Scientology for about 17 years now. It has been the guiding solution for me to find out, hey, what am I doing that's causing these problems? It's very, very much responsibility orientated, and very much, there's no victim, no blame anybody else. It's like, what am I doing that is creating this scenario? What do I not see? What am I blind to that's causing this? How do I get rid of some of these sabotaging and limited ideas that so many of us have, it appears that we have in society today? You know, why do I have these neurotic, crazy thoughts that are not conducive to being in a relationship and growing a relationship? Because it keeps changing, as you know. You know, what
Yeah.
Elena and I are experiencing today in our lives it's all new to us too.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, you know, when they say, you know, more money, more problems, right? Or, you know, you are independently this attractive, wealthy, gregarious guy. I'm sure when you travel, do you travel separately now? And like, do you just have to come from a place where you just blindly trust each other? Because a lot of people who see, she's beautiful, your wife is stunning, you're an attractive guy. So is it just a commitment that you make together and trust that doesn't have you worry about those things? I think a lot of people wonder, do you get jealous of each other? How does that work?
I'm not a jealous guy. I've never been a jealous guy. Like, we were in Houston yesterday. We do travel together, and sometimes we're not together. It depends on the schedule. But I was at the Post Oak Hotel in the club there, the meetup bar, and for business, and meetup bar for business. But this guy says, hey, do you mind if I text your wife? I'm like, I hope you do. Because he was talking about doing business with her. I said, I hope you do.
Oh, okay.
I said, you don't need to ask me for permission, dude. I hope you text her. I hope she texts you back. I hope y'all do some business together. I'm not worried about losing her to another man. I never worry about that. And,
Okay.
And that, by the way, if that happened, that would be the least. There's many, many more problems than that in a relationship.
Got it.
Like that wouldn't even be a reason I would leave her.
Right.
If that happened. It hadn't, but I'm just saying that would not be that wouldn't be that would be way down the list. I'm not wanting for that. And then people hitting on me, and people really don't hit on me, I think they're like,
I think it's because you're such a devoted, like you come out as this devoted guy. But I'm actually surprised by that, Grant. I hear a lot of women talk about their men they're married to. They're very wealthy men that are constantly being hit on by single people because they think there's a crack in there somewhere, So,
sure. I mean, look, if I started putting the vibe out, I guarantee you, it'd be a matter of time before I'd find somebody that would support me being unethical.
Okay, so that's the trick. It's the vibe. You're not putting out the vibe.
The vibration.
Got it. Here's a question for you.
Open for business.
What advice could you give to the shy guys, the beta guys that are just terrified of talking to women? And I don't know, have you ever been that guy? Because I only ever see you. Yeah? Okay, so what advice would you give to these shy guys?
Quit lying to yourself. You got to quit lying to yourself. Somebody said you were shy. That wasn't your idea. You're not an introvert and you're not a beta guy. There's no beta. There's no alpha. It's all made up bullshit. It's labels. Pretty, ugly, skinny, fat, old, young. These are all labels. They're defined by nothing except your agreement. And you want to be the shy guy. You want to be the shy guy, then be the shy guy. But I don't know what you're bragging about. Like, quit hiding under the ADD, the ADHD, the bipolar, the depressant, the unsuccessful, the introvert, the extrovert. These are all bullshit labels.
I love that. Grant,
let me just say from a man and woman's, I don't know everything about this, but I would just tell you, if I were a young guy today, I would not put less emphasis on being successful. I would put even more on it. Because when you get really, really successful, people want to be around you. Right. Women, particularly men and women, find successful people to be a cool thing.
Yeah.
And it's never been cooler than it is right now to be successful. But successful doesn't mean you look good on Instagram. And to me, successful means I can take care of the people around me. It's not how good I look in the car. It's not how good I look in the car. And so I see a lot of guys right now that fake it till you make it. You got the Lambo, you got the Rolls. I'm telling you, there's a lot of women out there that do not find that attractive. They put you in a box that makes you look like a player rather than a parent. And makes you look like you're into instant gratification rather than long-term relationship gratification and creation. And so the Gucci belts, the shoes, because what's that going to say? Oh, I'm gonna get you Gucci, and I'm gonna get you Chanel. And the next thing you guys are doing is going to the credit card company and Visa, MasterCard to win. I wasn't buying any of that bullshit. When I got Elena, I had one car. I had no Gucci, no Ferragamo, no Richards, no Patek's, nothing. I was living in a hotel. So
when you met Elena?
Yeah, because I sold my house in La Jolla, went and rented a hotel I think I was in that hotel for 6 months.
Yes, but you were not broke. But I understand what you're saying.
I wasn't broke, you were not broke. I wasn't wearing Hermes belts.
Right. You just got her on your charm.
And my persistence and my professionalism.
Last question for you, Grant. What's the secret to happiness? Your secret to happiness, or anybody?
I think my if I have a secret is production. The more consistently I produce, the happier I am.
That's amazing.
I like producing stuff. I like celebrating stuff. I like, hey guys, we just did something else. And the last thing I'd say about that is quit looking for a person to make you happy. Because that's not you producing anything. That's them doing something. And so Elena doesn't expect me to make her happy. I don't expect the kids to make me happy. And I don't expect Elena to make me happy. I want.
Where is the family right now, by the way?
They're,
What's everybody doing?
oh yeah, the kids are at summer camp and Elena is shooting a show right now at the other
Oh,
house.
she's doing TV.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So Grant, what's next for you? You've got so much on the go. I see I see more property investments. Can you share with our audience? I'm going to publish this relatively soon. What do you got going on? What do we need to be part of? And how can we get a hold of you? What's going on?
Thank you. So we're doing a big event in July here in town. It's a 6-day event. A person can do 3 days of it or 3 days of business boot camp. There'll probably be 1,000 people here live, maybe more.
And you're actually going to be there facilitating, right?
I'll be there the entire time.
It's your deal. Okay.
The entire time. So if you like being with people, next to people, talking to people, networking with people, everybody in the room pays. Super qualified group of people. There's an online option. I think the website's grantcardone.com bootcamp /bootcamp, grantcardone.com /bootcamp. And then the 3 days after the business bootcamp, we're doing a real estate bootcamp. There'll probably be 2,000 people at that. Investors, lenders, and people with real estate to offer at the deal. It's going to be phenomenal. Probably the most qualified group of people. You ladies that want to get in a room with guys that are actually doing real stuff, not saying they're doing real stuff and don't, because I know there's plenty of those guys. Man, you'll meet some.
Well, I'm going to check my calendar because it sounds like if there's singles in that room, I want to be there.
Well, there is going to be singles, and every successful guy I've ever met or gal, what they're asking me is this: number one question, dude, what are you doing for your health, and how do I find a chick like yours? 2 questions.
See?
So how are you taking care
of
yourself?
What are you doing for your health, and how do you find someone like
a
partner?
Guys are asking me, where do you find a girl like Elena? So and they're asking Elena, where do you find a man like Grant? So
what do you say to them? What do you say to them?
I said, dude, get around good people.
Right.
Sorry, certain places attract better people than other places. This event will be attracting success-minded people. And
I bet it is amazing.
Well, and people that are paying. Like, I go places where people pay. This is something I changed years ago. I do not go where it's cheapest. I go where people pay. I don't go to happy hour. Right. You don't meet the good people at happy hour. You meet the cheap people at happy hour, or the drunks. Okay. So we got that going on in July. End of the year, between now and the end of the year, we'll close another probably $300, $400 million worth of real estate. We'll probably hit $3 billion this year. And we're also working on a big announcement for a TV production company.
Amazing. I would love to see you more on that. I know you also had your cameo appearance in a major film across from Mr. De Niro, was it not?
Yeah, that was fantastic.
And can you just tell them real quick what you did? Because that was such a humbling role, but you loved it. I love that about you.
It was fantastic. I had 2 lines with Bobby De Niro, and I blew them both. So that's the thing. But we finally got it right. He patted me on the shoulder and said, "Keep your real job, man." Hey, it's been great being with you today. Okay, I hope this is great.
Thank you so much, Grant.
Okay.
We'll see you on Clubhouse. Bye.
Thanks.